On November 28, 1954, a man walked through the doors of Tokyo's Haneda airport. He'd flown in from New York via a Scandinavian Airlines plane and was carrying a suitcase, some cameras and a briefcase. It was stuffed with documents and folders. This was no ordinary tourist. He approached the immigration officer with an air of confidence. He handed over his passport and declared that he was a citizen of a small European nation called Taured. When the officer checked his passport, he found that it was indeed valid. It had been issued by the government of Taured, complete with an official stamp and seal. The passport photo showed a handsome man with dark hair, the same man who stood before the immigration desk. His name, according to his documentation, was Haneda, and he planned to spend 3 weeks touring Japan. But the officer noticed something strange. All the photos in his passport were dated 1890. As it turns out, there was nothing unusual about Mr. Nepomuk. He breezed through customs. The next day he visited several department stores and even did an interview with a journalist. Over the next few days, he continued to behave like any other tourist. But this normality was an illusion. The authorities had no idea who he was or where he came from. They tracked his movements, watching him from afar. They waited until he checked into a hotel near Shibuya Station. Then they followed him to his room. They listened intently outside the door, hearing him speak on the phone in German, French, Spanish, and English. He sounded educated, cultured, very much alive. Then just as quickly, everything went silent. In the morning, hotel staff went to check on him, but his room was empty. His bed hadn't been slept in. His suitcase was still sitting in the corner. There was no sign of forced entry and no forwarding address. The documents that he'd presented at the airport were nowhere to be seen. He'd vanished along with all evidence of his identity. The police released a statement, appealing to the public for information. They described the man, his appearance, his demeanor, and the fact that he carried no identification other than his strange passport. Still, no one came forward. Days turned into weeks, then months. The case went cold. For more than half a century, the mystery remained unsolved. There have been many reports of people who accidentally time travel. Most are easy to dismiss. A man who claimed to be from the year 2670 was exposed as a drug addict. A woman who talked about traveling with her family in a hovercraft was an eccentric billionaire. But John Tappett's story is different. He seemed educated, intelligent, articulate. He presented documents that, at least at first glance, appeared legitimate. Why would someone fake such a complex hoax? And if he really was from another country, how did he disappear without a trace? One theory is that Torres never existed. That's right. This passport was part of an elaborate hoax, possibly orchestrated by the CIA. The United States was at the height of its propaganda campaign against communism. If the agency wanted to discredit the Soviet Union, they needed something big. What better way than to plant a fake communist spy in Japan? After all, this wasn't the first time someone mysteriously disappeared. Everett Ruse vanished in the Utah desert in 1960. More recently, Maura Murray disappeared after crashing her car in New Hampshire. Both cases remain officially unsolved. Could John Thorpe have suffered the same fate? Was he an unwitting pawn in a top-secret government experiment? If you're starting to feel confused, you're not alone. The truth is, anything could be true, and that's the point. This is a story that challenges our understanding of reality. Maybe John Thorpe really was from Taured. Perhaps he traveled to Japan accidentally, a victim of a dimensional rift, a tear in the space-time continuum. Some believe these rifts exist all around us, allowing travelers to slip through unnoticed. Imagine if this was the case. Would we even notice a dimensional traveler walking among us? How long would they live before being detected? What would we do? With such a discovery, the possibilities are endless. So here we find ourselves back at square one. We can choose to dismiss the story as nonsense, a collection of wild conspiracy theories, or we can entertain the possibility that there may be more to our universe than we know. Maybe there are infinite dimensions existing simultaneously, just beyond our perception. What do you think happened to John Tapper? Did he come from another dimension? Let me know in the comments.